Welcome to Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast.
We are two Southern sisters rewatching The Hills and chatting about it for your entertainment.
I am Susan, and I'm a 30-something photographer.
I'm Jem, and I'm amazing and sunburned.
And today we are so excited to have a special guest with us. Seth is a comedian from Chicago. He is originally from Oakland, California. He is a diehard fan of LC and The Hills, and he is basic AF. Seth, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, hey.
Thank you. Hey, welcome.
Y'all.
Hey, y'all. I'm happy to be here. This is fantastic. Best find of 2017 for me.
Woohoo.
Yes.
Hills Convention, here we come.
Yes, it's going down.
It is. It's happening.
So, Seth, tell us about your history with The Hills.
I think what happened is I was dating a woman. She was like younger than me. And so The Hills came on. And so we started watching in real time. And I wasn't a huge Laguna Beach fan, but I remember LC from Laguna. And so we started watching The Hills together. And then we broke up, but I kept watching The Hills because it was the best show on television.
So this was the biggest thing you took out of this relationship, was your love for The Hills.
Yeah, I mean, I thank her eternally for introducing me to The Hills. But I'm glad the relationship's over, but the best part of the relationship was The Hills. I got LC out of it, and so, can't be mad about that.
You really can't. You were the winner out of that one.
Yeah, totally. I won.
Not the winner of the week, though. That's late.
No. I think I have my winner of the week.
Oh, I can't wait. No spoilers. Ooh, I love your mason jar ice water. That's very Southern of you.
Oh, hey, yes, thank you very much. It's actually, I'm all in. I'm happy. I'm one of the girls today.
Yes, you are. We love it.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and start talking about the episode for this week. So this week we're talking about Season 2, Episode 12, Goodbye for Now. And you guys, this is the season finale of Season 2.
Tears.
It's crazy. We're already at the end of Season 2, Jem.
I know. It's happened so quickly. It only took us a year to do the podcast leading up to this.
Well, that's because of all of our breaks.
Yeah, those hiatuses. What do you think about those, Seth?
It's what happens when you have a long-standing relationship with anything. Sometimes you have to step away and, it's all good. I mean, it's a commitment. I really adore the fact that you make this commitment and you're trying to stick to it. But life happens. It's as long as you come back. Like, that's the important thing. As long as you come back.
Yeah.
We always come back.
We always come back.
We can't quit you, Hills.
Can't quit you, Hills.
Yes. Yeah. That's important.
You know what I feel like right now? I feel like we're on Three's Company. I'm Chrissy, Susan's Janet, and you're Jack Tripper.
I'm so Jack Tripper. So that means I have to, like, bumble and fall. Like, oh, what happened?
Seth, where'd you go? We have to have a big misunderstanding in this episode.
We'll have to have a big we'll misconstrue something. Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll define something as meaning something else, and it'll be one of those moments where I need to remove my headphones so I didn't hear it. So then when I come back, I think T-shirt means something else. I'm like, why did they keep saying
what's happening?
I have no idea.
I think I'd actually rather be Terry instead of Chrissy. Can I be Terry?
Sure, absolutely.
I like her
you can
better.
be whoever you want.
She was the nurse. I liked her.
Okay, so we start out this episode at the Hillside Villas, of course.
Of course.
We've had way too much Hillside Villas lately, and it does not change with this episode.
Artistically, they had to keep showing the Hillside Villas to build up moving out of the Hillside Villas. I think it was an artistic decision to really make you, because that's what made The Hills so fantastic. It was well done. All reality shows are fake. So when people are talking about real reality is watching me do my taxes. Or watching us iron,
Iron, what is that?
That's what a dryer is for, Seth.
Exactly.
That's my dryer.
Right. So that's why when people are like, oh, it's not real, it's like, shut up, it's TV. Let's remember that. So as far as drama was concerned, I mean, they knew exactly how to pull us in. So I think it was a lot of Hillside Villa, because we're building up to Heidi leaving the Hillside Villas. You know what I mean?
Wait, Heidi's leaving?
Oops, sorry. Yeah, we'll edit that, right? So I say Hillside Villa, leading up to, you'll watch and see.
Jen, did you even watch this episode?
I watched it 3 times in a row in the same sitting, and it really enriched my Saturday. Or maybe it was my Sunday. I don't know what today is.
So you did this yesterday?
I did it this morning, I think.
So Heidi and Lauren are talking about Heidi and Spencer's fight from the night before.
The fight in the alley.
Yeah, Jen, that's right.
It's where everything happens between Heidi and Spencer, is in that alley behind Bolt House. I wish that Brent hung out in the alley sometimes so I could see him.
When is Brent going to come back? Come on, it's been so long.
I miss you, Brent. Are you a fan of Brent Bolthouse, Seth?
Oh yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. Good looking dude. Yeah, I like him. I just don't think they figured out a way to use him in the show more than just, Heidi's employer.
So I like how Lauren encourages Heidi to trust her instincts.
Mm-hmm. She said that when you first met him, you said that you would never move in with someone until you had been with them for 2 years. And Heidi just keeps saying, well, the only reason I'm not moving in with him is because of you. And then we go off on a long list of amazing Lauren Conrad quotes.
Yes.
Just one after the other.
Just bam, bam. Mm-hmm. Now, did you hear the episode of Me on Hallie's show, Tender Loving Conrad?
Yes.
Jen did. I haven't listened to it yet.
Okay. So remember I said Lauren was a low-key bitch? Yeah.
Yes, this is an example.
Basically.
We got some LKB right here. LKB. Oh, that's what we do. We make up words. Look that. We got a phrase out of it. LKB.
Yes.
So yeah, Lauren is an LKB. And she gave it to her.
My favorite thing that she said was, don't use me as an excuse. I don't live with you. I live with your stuff. So shady.
Burn.
So shady.
But you know what? Can we back up to the beginning of the episode?
Yeah, absolutely.
When Heidi first walks in and she's like, what are you doing here?
Right, like, why are you here? And she's like,
why are you here? Why are you here? Oh my God, that's the best.
So shady.
I just love how Queen Elsie is always just nestled up in the sofa waiting for the drama to come to her.
Really
She's just, just sitting there with some random book or magazine, just waiting.
And flowers on the coffee table.
Right. Everything's just perf all the time.
Mm-hmm. It happens all the time where Heidi is coming back in and Lauren's just sitting there waiting for her, just already. She must be a real homebody because she's never the one coming back in.
Never. Like every scene, she's the one, sitting in the house waiting.
So then we head to Teen Vogue, New York, and Emily comes out and hugs Whitney.
The infamous Emily, intern Emily, from a previous episode. And also Emily of Glossier, which I'm probably wearing a lot of right now. I have some Glossier products on my face right now, and I love them.
And she says, are you ready for your interview? And Whitney is interviewing with Amy Astley.
I love her, by the way. She has this whole, bangs and, chopped off blonde hair. Every hair is in place.
It's really beautiful. I think the thing that was fun about this was it was very clear she was getting the job. That's why this scene is like what are we doing right now?
Are you nervous for this interview?
Are you nervous for this interview? It's like, I got the job.
Right.
We saw scripts from next season already. I like how they have her sit and then but I love the cutaway of just sit down because we're really not going to watch an interview.
Right. No one wants to see a boring interview.
Nobody wants to see a boring interview, So I love how they sit her down, and then later on, we cut to the end. But
Emily makes a major faux pas, in my opinion. And Seth, you're a traveling man, so you can attest to this. But she says, "Welcome to the Big Apple," and I'm like, if you live in New York City, I don't think you welcome people to the Big Apple. That's like if you said, "Welcome to the Windy City," or if somebody said, "I'm going to Beantown" or Hotlanta or the City of Angels. Have a cooler name for your town than the one that it was called in 1942.
It's actually, as a traveling man, what I find is people actually do use that cornball stuff when you touch down. It's so wild. And you're just like, come on. I'm not a first timer. We got to South Carolina, welcome to Charm City. I'm like, no.
Amy Astley is unbearably chic. I love everything about her.
She is so classy and elegant, just from, like y'all said, her haircut to her clothes. That would be very intimidating to do an interview with her.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
So then we head to Bolt House, And Elodie is chatting with Kristen and Heidi. They're gossiping in the lobby while they're flipping through magazines. That looks like a super chill place to work.
They're working very hard. I hope Jen Bunny doesn't come in and interrupt them right now, because that'll ruin everything.
Elodie says, I can't believe after all he did to you, you would consider staying with him and moving in with him. Hashtag Team Elodie.
Hashtag Team Elodie. You know, I love me some Elodie. I tweet her all the time. I don't know if she's going to be like, I love this or I hate this. I don't know. I tweeted her the other day, like, I'm taking my Team Elodie shirt to LA because there's a 0.00004% chance I'll run into Elodie and get a selfie. And she answered, ha, have a great trip. So I was like,
Yay!
Yay!
Seth just did a little dance for those of you that couldn't see us through the podcast app.
But yeah, I love that Elodie just gave her the business. Like, after all of that, you still are thinking about it. And I love in the cutaway, she goes, what a jerk.
What a jerk. And, you know, Heidi, she's always been this way, I guess, but right now she's especially that friend who begs you for advice and then doesn't listen to a word of it and then comes back the next day and begs you for advice and just like in one ear and out the other.
So frustrating when that happens. I love that Kristen says she's lived with every boyfriend that she's ever had.
And Elodie's like, I've never done that. I wish Brent Bolthouse would roll into the room and give some of his advice. I would like to hear it. What's his word? He always says, I think you should make a sandwich, Heidi. A sandwich.
I love that she was like, it's not a good thing. Kristen's like, it's not always a good thing. It's not.
Not
it
at
is
all.
not.
Especially with a guy like Spencer that you've only been dating a few months. That's insane.
But you can just see it in her face that her mind is made up about everything. Nobody can change her thoughts about it. And she's just, I don't even know why she's asking Elodie for advice.
And it's really weird because it's you go, oh, it's a horrible idea. And 10 years later, they're still together, right?
True. It did kind of work out.
Right? So it kind of worked out. I mean, like, you know, and I tweeted them one time and I was like, say what you want to about Spencer and Heidi. Your favorite celebrities are divorced and they're still together.
That is true.
And Heidi responded, right? It's been 10 years. But
your friend Heidi Montag.
She's not my friend, but she did, I believe, all celebrities these people want to feel like they're still like loved and adored. So I think when you hit them with like, for real, like, I get you, then they feel compelled to say something. Like, Spencer really hates the idea of the Hills for whatever reason. That's why when we tweeted him convention, he wrote back, never. By the way, we've been tweeted by Spencer. So all you other Hills fanatics, until you got a Spencer tweet, you are not the realest. Words Unspoken is the realest.
Words Unspoken is the realest. You're so right, Seth.
It's the original one. It's the dopest one.
It is the dopest one.
Oh,
That's
thanks.
right. In fact, if you call me and ask me to be on your Hills podcast, I'm going to call Susan and Jeb and ask for permission. And if they don't like your podcast, I ain't coming.
I'm blushing, Seth.
Oh my goodness, let me get my fan and fan myself. Actually, I really do need one. It's really hot in here.
And Elodie's like, I don't think you should move in with him. And just gives a look like, come on.
Right. And of course, she does not listen to that advice.
Shocking. I'm so shocked that she doesn't listen to advice from Elodie.
Elodie and Elsie don't even know it, but they need a support group for one another to talk about all of the time that they've wasted on trying to make Heidi's life better and it being completely lost on their subject. So they should have had some kind of little... Maybe they did. Maybe they had a secret support group behind the scenes that we don't know about.
So then we head back to Teen Vogue New York, and we catch the tail end of Whitney's interview. She seems to be doing pretty well, but what's she wearing?
It was like a crazy, ruffly, like high-necked, sleeveless situation.
I feel like it wasn't a very good interview outfit, but it was probably some designer that Amy Astley would know about and respect. So that's the only thing I could think of, but I didn't really like what she was wearing. It was odd looking.
I think what Whitney was wearing, I think it's what Amy said she was looking for. Because again, remember, this is the best television show in town. So nobody wore what they thought they were going to be wearing, right? So it was like, hey, Amy, we're shooting this interview thing. And Amy's probably like, okay, this is next fall's look. put her in that, and we probably got a glimpse of something that was probably coming out in next spring. Because remember, she said we want someone who knows what's going on in LA before they find out, right?
So it's like the first time they went for the interview and they made them change clothes.
Right.
Good. Yeah, you're so smart. Seth, you're so smart. You should do Hills podcast. I might have to resign and let Seth take over, Jim.
Yeah, we're going to go on permanent hiatus. Seth is going to it'll be words unspoken. Bye, y'all.
No.
We're quitting. Bye, y'all. It's like you can see into Amy Astley's soul.
I just know that we're talking about the fashion world where the game is stay ahead of everybody by a season, you know? Yep. You're not going to waste this opportunity to do your thing.
P.S. Can we quickly touch on the fact that Teen Vogue was Teen Vogue, it was what it was, but now it's like a bastion of social justice in its current incarnation in our real time, not the Hills time. I hate to yank you out of that time. But Teen Vogue is publishing some of the most important social justice articles and exposés right now, and I like to think that started with Whitney Port. I'd like to give her the credit for that because I feel that Whitney's pretty woke for her time.
Every major revolution was carried on by its young, its youth. When we think about, even the founding fathers, for most of them, they were in their late 20s, early 30s. Some of them were as young as, 24, 25. Can you imagine? 25, all I was trying to do was, where to party at. These guys were trying to build nations. No, but these new young cats they're socially conscious, because you have to be, because the internet's so dominant now where everyone has access to information. And so it's all really execution now. So they really have to if you want to be relevant, you have to execute. And I think Teen Vogue's executing very well, actually.
Yeah, they're doing such a good job. And no child or young adult has any excuse to not be up to date on things that are important at the forefront of the news right now. So no one has any excuse to be ignorant. Thanks.
Hashtag Jim and Susan for social justice, y'all.
Jim and Susan and Seth for social justice.
So then we head back to Bolt House, and Spencer calls Heidi and says, "We need to talk. Can you meet me?" So I automatically assume they're going to have another alleyway meeting like they did in the last episode. And instead he says, "Will you meet me at this address?"
Oh, I wonder what it could be, Spencer.
What kind of hijinks is Spencer up to this time? There's no possible way we could guess.
Elodie is dripping with disapproval in the background.
Dripping
with disapproval.
She's like, "Where are you going?" And she's like, "I'm going on my break." She can't even say she's going to meet Spencer because she's so ashamed of what she's doing.
Jen Bunny's in the lobby. BRB.
No bunny in this episode.
I love how he just calls and goes, "Hey, sweetheart," and it's just right back on, after he just told you to get out of his car.
And he's so smarmy on that phone call. He's like, "How are you?"
Right.
I think we've already talked about this in an episode, how every time Spencer calls Heidi an endearment, it comes out sounding so insincere.
Princess Heidi.
I don't know. Spencer's a unique human being.
You're so diplomatic, Seth.
No. But I'm really, because there's part of me wants to hate him because he's such a D-bag, right? Mm-hmm. And he's classic bro. Everything's bro.
Classic
Bro. He's just a bro, But at the same time, I feel like he's always living his most authentic self, right? And so it's I think you're almost like, oh God, you're a bro, right? Which is still wiser than, not knowing. But he's just, so I'm always torn with Spencer, It's always you're so horrible, but you're so honest about the fact that you're horrible.
So what you're saying is he takes his broness and he owns his broness. Own your broness should be a shirt.
Hashtag own your broness, or just own your broness.
Just either one. And that's not as good as, a Team Elodie shirt.
Obviously.
It comes in, far second place. But yeah, own your broness. That could be that kind of sounds like a Jem and Susan for social justice campaign. Not against bros, but to help rehab bros into being
right.
The first step is owning it.
Own your broness.
Well, I think that Jem and I both go through those stages too of liking Spencer and having that. It's the two halves of your soul are being ripped apart, trying to decide how you feel about him.
It's kind of the human condition. Is Spencer evil or good?
Don't know.
So my relationship right now with Spencer is extremely complicated. Like Facebook is complicated. And he is my favorite person to watch on Snapchat. And he does all these adorable like hummingbird things. And I think they actually just named a hummingbird sanctuary after him out there. He was Snapchatting the other. And I think he and Heidi renewed their vows the other day for a tabloid or something, because he was like Snapchatting like, here's where we did a vow renewal, and then it is vow renewal, and then all of a sudden it like jumps to something else. So I'm sure we'll see that in the news or whatever. But anyway,
are they in Colorado or in LA?
They were in Colorado. They went back to see Heidi's mom, who was totally all over Snapchat, and I was like, oh, Heidi's mom, I haven't seen her in 10 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I think they did that. But my relationship with him is very complicated right now, because it's like I watch him talk to Heidi like this on the phone at Bolt House, but I just watched him in 2017 like rescuing a hummingbird from, imminent disaster. So really hard to reconcile my feelings about Spencer Pratt right now, and it's one of those things I'm really dealing with and having a hard time with, and it's just a really rough day for me.
Well, and I think what it is that we have to realize that it's not when people change, it's owning your broness. And so like before, when it was like I'm gonna be a D-bag with these women, now it's like I'm gonna be a D-bag against people harming hummingbirds.
Yes, he's just changed his audience, and he's still the same Spencer. He's using
his power for good.
He is using his power for good. He's really turned it around, and apparently moving in together real quick after a hot minute sometimes works out for folks. Who knew?
So Heidi pulls up to the address where Spencer told her to meet him, and it's this beautiful apartment.
She's not overly surprised, though. She just kind of walks in and is like, okay.
I'm sure she's seen it before, but we won't talk about that, will we? Spencer says, I've got us this apartment. So the last thing we heard from Heidi was no, she did not want to move in with Spencer, and he said, get out of my car. And now all of a sudden he just got an apartment, and she's like, just rolled right over her objections.
And he, most importantly, points out that you can see Ledoux and Don Antonio's from the balcony, because when moving in together, who would not want the drama of the club nearby? What could be better for a couple?
You've got to be close to the club.
It's true.
God, you guys can't see it. Runner up for funniest moment is this head thing that Spencer does when he's he's like, and the room, put a room,
and he bounces his head.
Why are you, oh my God, why are you that bro?
He's doing like a little, it's like a convincing head bob, where it's like, the harder I nod my head, the more Heidi will fall for whatever I'm saying to her right now. That's how it works. It's like some kind of force field he's putting up. Spencer's showing us the head nod.
Hilarious.
It's amazing.
So Spencer has to promise not to roll up to the club with all the girls, and if he won't do that, then Heidi will move in with him. If he promises to be serious, and she says, okay, I'll move in with you.
No more rolling with the playmates.
Right.
Which is kind of sad for the audience, honestly.
I'll miss them.
Oh, just wait until the next scene, though.
Right. Mm-hmm. But before we do, I want to. This scene was very. I have a lot of respect for Heidi in this scene. Oddly enough. So I think that after watching this 2 more times, I realized that Heidi wasn't looking for advice about moving in with Spencer. She was looking for one of her friends to support the move, and no one was doing it. And so, like, on one hand, it was like, well, it's again, it's none of your friends are doing it, so she stood on her own too and did what she wanted to do. I have children, I have daughters, and I would hope that, if none of your friends are down with it, but it's what you really feel like doing, that you would, grab yourself and do you, So I had a little respect for Heidi after this one, because, she made a move. We can say what we want to. They're still together, so,
she turned out to be the smart one.
Yeah, because definitely there was not one person who told her it would be a good idea, and everyone told her it would be a terrible idea, but you're right. She was like, well, that's what she wanted. I think she was really worried about moving in with him more than anything, because she was afraid that he was not as serious about it, that he was just doing it as a competition with Lauren, which, I mean, that's what it seems like, because he keeps bringing Lauren up, and, oh, you want to choose her over me and all this, and I'm afraid that she probably thought that he just wanted to win the contest or whatever, and that he wasn't really serious about it, or that he'd get tired of her when they moved in together, which I think is a super common thing to think. But I think at the end of the day, she knew she was going to lose him if they didn't move in together. together, even though I don't think she really would have. And she just decided that's what she wanted. And really, I think the only thing that made her stop was she didn't want Lauren to be mad at her, and she didn't want to lose Lauren's friendship. And probably a little part of her that didn't want to leave the show. She might have been afraid, like, if their friendship broke off, she wouldn't be on the show anymore. But really, because of Spencer, that didn't happen. It's really, I think, kudos to him because he made her more valuable on the show, I think.
Susan, are you saying that Spencer was the glue that held the Hills together?
I'm saying that Spencer made the Hills a lot more interesting.
It's true, because remember all the episodes that we had to do before he came into the picture? We were talking about Jordan and Brian. Oh.
The story has a protagonist and an antagonist, and we didn't have a good antagonist until Spencer showed up. So, yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely no arguing that. I mean, it's Star Wars without a Darth Vader.
That just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. It's too happy.
Maybe Lisa Love was the Darth Vader until Spencer came along. That's all I can think of.
Yeah.
Lisa Love.
Let's be fair. We hate Jason.
Yes, yeah.
We hate Jason. And Jason got us through season 1.
He did. But
Jason got us through season 1.
He's
but,
the worst.
Oh.
He was awful.
The worst.
He was a life ruiner.
Awful.
But we're so happy that he's doing well now.
Yes.
And he's in recovery.
Sober.
And he's having a baby.
And he's helping other people get sober too, so good for him.
And we said congratulations on Insta on Father's Day, and his wife said thank you.
Oh.
So, Seth, we tweet people on the Hills too, or their
That's
spouses.
As you should.
We're not as Insta famous as you are.
I'm not. I'm just annoying.
So we head back to the Hillside Villas, and Lauren is eating and drinking and getting ready for work when Heidi walks in, and she's like, well, I guess you made up, because Heidi's coming back the next morning. And we proceed to have a super awkward conversation when she tells Lauren that she's moving out.
What are the noises that Lauren even makes in this scene? Like, they defy description. I can't even replicate them, and I'm amazing at impressions. JK.
Lauren's like, oh, what could go wrong? In the most sarcastic voice ever. She is not supportive at all.
The best is how Heidi goes, well, a new roommate. That's exciting.
She's trying to spin it into this positive for Lauren.
Right. Someone who will always be here. And it was like, oh, Heidi, stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
She should have written it in a letter and slid it under Lauren's door and let that be. And then I love how she's like, well, now that I'm moving out, I really need to, make a concerted effort to go to Taco Tuesdays. And Elsie's like, you don't come now. Why would you come when you don't even live here anymore?
I do love the forceful ice throw into the sink before Lauren's like, I gotta go to work.
It's literally like all of the rage and anger and resentment that Lauren is feeling goes into that cup of ice into the sink and like crashes.
I'm like, why do you have so many ice cubes in there? Like, you knew you were about to be upset.
There are people in other countries who need that fresh water, Lauren.
And she definitely slams the door on her way out. So then we head to one of my favorite scenes of this whole episode. We go to Brody's condo, and Brody and Spencer are broing out.
Brody puts the bro in Brody.
I know what we're trying to do. We'll make this happen, Jim. We'll make this happen.
Get us there.
Brody is the bro in Brody.
Yes. Right? That works.
So Brody says to Spencer, you aren't moving out, you're getting married. And Spencer says, no, because if I was getting married, I would have to buy a ring.
Wait, how did it sound in Spencer's voice?
No, because if I was getting married, I would have to buy a ring.
Oh my gosh. Susan just turned into Spencer before my eyes and Seth's eyes. So
I saw it. I was like, wow, the mouth got smaller and everything. I mean, it was dead on.
It was a transformation. Did you see her dark hair turn like curly and blonde?
Yes, absolutely.
And she grew a quick beard for a hot second.
This is one of those moments that I'm like, I really, really dislike you, Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
And Spencer's goal again is to like win this contest. So he's like, I just don't want her living with Lauren. So basically, the only way that I can keep her out of Lauren's life is to pluck her out of Lauren's apartment, put her in my own, and still have the homeboy phone, which we need to discuss.
Let's talk about the phones, Jim and Seth. Let's talk about the phones.
Let's talk about the phones.
This is perfect timing because we have a boy on our show, which never happens ever. So welcome. Did you ever have like a homie phone and a girlfriend phone? Like a burner, like in House of Cards? Like, did you ever have that like extra phone?
No, I didn't.
You just kept
But-
it real with like the single phone.
Well, yeah, but see, that's the whole thing. Like, I kept it real. So players, because we used to tease guys like that. So players are people who literally play games, right? That's what they do. They play games. They don't realize, and I'm sorry. No, we don't say I'm sorry.
Nope,
Okay, so
No, love
here's the
means
thing.
never having to say you're sorry.
Here's the thing. In the game, as people call it, we always hear about the pimps and the women who are working professionally at night.
Jem and Susan for social justice, thank you for that phrasing of the statement. Well done.
So there are the pimps and the women who work professionally at night. And that's all we ever hear are those two, right? But people forget that there's the third person, and that's the trick. That's where the money comes from. And no one ever talks about them because usually the people talking about the pimps and the women working professionally are tricks. So that's what we have right here is some trick stuff, right? I'm a trick. So I can't never let anyone realize I'm playing. So I got 2 phones and I keep an outfit in the trunk and I keep whatever and all that crazy crap. I have 1 phone, and what you do is you tell a woman, yes, I am talking to 4 other women casually, and if she doesn't like that, she opts out and you lost one. And then you keep, that's just how that goes.
And if my math is correct, there's still 3 ladies left, so you're good.
Exactly. There's no reason to lie, but because that's a lot of, the homie phone and the girlfriend phone. You know how much time you have to manage that? You have to make sure they're both there. You have to make sure they're both charged.
But girlfriend can never see the homie phone.
Exactly. So they can't both come out at the same time.
It just complicates things. Or what if you try to show the girlfriend something that's on the homie phone and forget that this isn't the phone that she's not supposed to see?
That is the homie phone, right?
Ooh, maybe he had little labels.
Y'all, I bet one of them was actually the paparazzi phone and not the girlfriend phone or the homie phone. One was actually the paparazzi phone, and he was just fronting.
We're rolling to Les Deux in 5 minutes. Be there or be square.
Right,
That's totally what Spencer would say, by the way. Well, you know what they say here in the dirty South where we live? Trick, love the kids.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Trick Daddy from Florida.
Yeah. Oh. Susan doesn't know things about Trick Daddy.
Trick love the kids.
Trick love the
I just think it's funny that it's I'm Playboy Spencer. Ain't nothing gonna stop. I'm gonna keep this going after you just swore that I'm cutting it out. It ain't no big deal.
So irritating, Spencer.
He says, I was born a playboy and I'm still the man. Spencer, were you ever really the man? Were you, Spencer? Were you?
Especially when you're in the same room with Brody Jenner.
Yeah, you're automatically taking a back seat to Brody's cuteness and charm, even though he tells girls when they have beautiful eyes and I want to punch him in the face because it's the stupidest compliment ever. But apparently Spencer's still the man.
Whatever. That's what 2 phones will do to you. Make you feel like the man. I got two phone bills. I'm the man.
So then we head back to Teen Vogue LA, and Lauren calls Whitney in New York City
on her BlackBerry.
Whitney is horrified that Heidi is moving in with Spencer.
She's like, oh my gosh, it's so cold here, and Spencer and Heidi are moving in together. Basically, Whitney's world is falling apart.
So then, as we're transitioning into the next scene, Jem.
Susan, I'm so excited for this. Music alert, music alert.
So we're so excited. Another Val Emmett song plays.
We love you.
This time, it's The Only One Lonely.
So Val Emmett, to recap for our friends and fans, is a singer-songwriter from New Jersey. He's had a little bit of success on TV with Ugly Betty and 30 Rock. He was Jamie, the hot young guy that Tina Fey went out with. But he's also an extremely prolific singer-songwriter and a book author now.
He just released his first book, The Reminders, on the 30th. It is an amazing book. As you all know, I read a lot and is definitely my favorite book of the year. It's an awesome book.
And I'm a big Beatles fan, and the book has a lot of Beatles connotations throughout, which I love. But this particular song in the show, The Only One Lonely, is also from my favorite Val Emmett album called Sunlight Search Party. Write it down, Seth. Write it down, world of international zillions of listeners. And check him out because he truly is. He's basically my favorite singer-songwriter of our time. So
Sunlight Search Party. So, side note, because you brought that up, I was trying to figure out where my contribution to our community could possibly be, because we already have two amazing podcasts, others out there that are not as amazing as this one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll go there. You guys can't, but I will. Words Unspoken is the greatest.
Yes, it is.
We're going to have to start playing that before our theme song.
Yeah, maybe it could go like, Words Unspoken is the greatest. You and all your pretty little friends.
No, I was trying to think about what my contribution to all of it was. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to season 1 and maybe try to accumulate the entire, Hills playlist.
That's a great idea. Yeah, what do you think about the music that's on the Hills?
Oh, it was fantastic. And it was always fantastic. And you got 6 or 7 songs almost every episode. And you really, really, I don't think people really understand how important the Hills was. For musicians coming out, having your song played on that show was everything, because you knew they were going to do cutaways. You knew what was going on. When you Google complete list cast on the Hills, the number is 168. Yeah, there were all the main people that we can talk about, but then there's 100 some people who made some type of guest appearance, and it's to get cast credit, that means you were on there for a reason, whether when they did Lady Gaga's Clothes, or
Can't wait for that.
Mark Jacobs came through the room, or but the list is Selena Gomez, Justin Timberlake. Who do you remember the Justin Timberlake episode?
No.
Exactly. When was that? Oh my God. So yeah, this show was amazing, and so musically it did so much for so many, I think. And so I think what I want to do is go back and Google Music or Shazam or whatever every episode and accumulate this playlist. I think it would be interesting.
This is a genius plan, and we could assign some kind of rating system to, did the Hills break this artist, and did they come out, in the year following as a famous artist or whatever. I bet we'd find a lot more. Are you looking at my sunburned shoulder?
Yeah.
It's getting redder by the minute. I have one uncovered spot I didn't get the SPF on, so that's going to be real cute for the next couple of weeks.
So we're back at the Hillside Villas. Lauren walks in the door and Heidi is packing, and she announces she's moving that very day.
Lauren's like, what are you doing? And Heidi's like, I'm packing.
And then she's like, oh, it's like a breakup, when she's closing the boxes and trying to be really cute about it. And it's not like a breakup. It's a breakup. It's a wrap.
Too soon, Heidi. Too soon. Jason is still fresh in Elsie's mind. Don't use that word, please.
Heidi just can't have Spencer and Lauren. It's one or the other.
Right.
She can't have her Spencer cake, and never mind. That's going nowhere good.
She's chosen her choice.
She's chosen her choice.
And Lauren's very cold, I feel like. I'm sure she's very hurt, but she acts like she doesn't care that much. I think she's putting on a good front, and I think Heidi is a little upset about it. So Spencer's dramatically packing up the U-Haul, trying to hold back his smirks because he won.
And Lauren says, you can always come back, Heidi.
She didn't exactly say it like that. It was definitely more shady than that, but...
When Spencer breaks your heart, I'll have you back into my loving arms.
Right, that's what she really meant. They hug and say, I love you, like they always do.
Untrue. No love.
And once they're in the U-Haul, Spencer can't hold back his smirks then. You can tell he's just thinking, yes, I won. I won this round, Lauren Conrad.
Spencer 1, Lauren 0.
And then we go into the most dramatic Hills moment ever. The U-Haul drives away. Lauren stands on the sidewalk as Heidi looks in her side mirror, sadly.
Looking longingly and wistfully into the mirror as if to say, what have I done? And could I have had them both?
What a fantastic shot. Just what a fantastic shot. I believe we had a Twitter conversation about it. Did we not, Susan?
Yes, we did. I think that they should have won an Emmy for that shot.
That shot was fantastic.
It really was.
Wait, they didn't win all the awards for The Hills roommate breakup episode season finale?
I mean, it really was. Whoever filmed that, and I think we discussed, though, that they probably tried multiple times before they got that perfect
they had
so
to.
perfect.
Oh, they had to. It was such a perfect. I mean, look at that.
Seth
Like,
is
does
showing
it-
us a picture of that amazing moment of Heidi looking in the side mirror. She looks so sad.
Look how beautiful LA looks. I mean, it's just, it doesn't get any better than
It
this.
really
That-
doesn't.
It doesn't, and the gate is rolling open, and it's kind of like, you know, Orange is the New Black or Wentworth when someone gets out of jail, and all the women are like, oh, you're leaving, and someone's like getting out, but it's like really sad that they're leaving. They're not hanging out for all the fun times in prison and all of the fun hijinks that they get into in the hallways of the women's prison.
I want to make a note right here that we got another quintessential Hills shot. If you've watched The Hills ever, you know that at the end of every scene, The Hills will give you like 1 or 2 seconds of just them sitting there looking. In this one, Lauren walks away and we get to watch her walk all the way back to Hillside Villas and into the door. I mean, the shot is just elongated. It's like Japanese film long. You know what I mean? It's a good shot.
I love how they do it. Like, they're not afraid of taking that time and letting that happen instead of just getting to the next part of the story. That's what I love about The Hills. They're wonderful storytellers.
And that's what endeared us to the show, is because we almost felt like we were living those moments along with them.
And we're still living them long after they're dead.
We are.
It's been 11 years and we're like, oh, Lauren.
That says a lot about the show. It really does, that we're still talking about it and it still feels important and relevant. It really does say a lot about the show, because I certainly don't feel that way about any other reality show that I've watched.
It holds up, kids. It holds up.
So then we head to Bolt House, and Elodie's hair is red.
New hair for Elodie.
Heidi's like, it's life-changing. And she says, speaking of life-changing, I moved in with Spencer, and the look on Elodie's face is amazing. She says, with her face, what everyone else is thinking. She's like, what in the world have you done? And she says, after all my grown-up advice, and she's just so irritated with Heidi. And Heidi says, oh yeah, it helped me make my decision. I'm like, you mean she gave you that advice so you took the opposite of that advice? That's very unflattering to Elodie.
Like, Elodie, when you were blonde, I didn't believe anything you were saying. If you had given me this advice with your new dark red hair, then I would have totally listened and not moved in with Spencer.
And Heidi's like, I'm gonna cook for Spencer. And Elodie's like, do you even know how to cook? And Heidi's like, no.
And then they struggle to remember what pots and pans are called.
That was amazing.
Which I can kind of relate to. I had some people over to my house one night. It was like a huge crowd of people, and everybody knows that I don't do cooking and kitchens, and I didn't know where my dish towels were, and they were all laughing at me. And at the end of the night, we were packing up leftovers because we had so much food left, and somebody was like, can I get some aluminum foil to wrap up this whatever? And I was like, sure. And she was like, it's the one that's like really long and silver in your pantry. And I was like, I know what aluminum foil is. So every time I use it, I send her a Snapchat of the, Reynolds wrap or whatever, and I'm like, I know what this is. Susan's
That was
yawning.
such a good story.
No one likes my
I can't wait to cut that out.
Rude.
I'm with you. I had a girlfriend who one time told me you can't put aluminum foil in the microwave, and I was like so triggered. Like, what do you think? What do you think? I've been here. I'm not an idiot. Like, what's going on with your life right now? Why are you telling me this? I was so like, what? Oh my God, it's the worst. All I'm saying is we have to give credit to Elodie's dramatic exit.
Yes. Epic
Oh,
Elodie
yes.
eye roll. And a head shake.
I'm Team Elodie all the time. And when you walk out, I walk out of rooms like that when people are like, wait, what? So I just told you not to do that and you didn't wait? Okay, let me get my Elodie on and walk away.
Let me get my Elodie on.
Well, Elodie is the only one in the whole show, besides Whitney, who is just rational at all times and has the best advice, but no one listens to her.
You know what I just realized is that the epic Elodie exit is like a mic drop and a table flip all rolled into one amazing package called Elodie.
Absolutely.
Hashtag Team Elodie.
Yes.
I just think it's really funny how all of a sudden, since they're moving into an apartment together, Heidi's going to play house with Spencer and be like his sweet little cook wife and doesn't even have a pot or a pan or have the ingredients. And Elodie's like, the ingredients. And Heidi goes, you mean like pasta?
Well, pasta's the easiest thing to cook, Jem.
Tell me about it. It's probably the only thing I've ever cooked in my kitchen.
This is true.
But I think I did still start a small fire, but don't tell my husband that.
So then we head back to the Hillside Villas, and Lauren walks in the door with pizza and champagne. Now, Jem and Seth, why in the world would she be bringing in pizza and champagne just for herself?
Because she's super sad and she's going to eat all of the carbs and drink all of the booze and sink into oblivion alone on her couch with sadness without Heidi, her best friend who she loves, right?
And I was like, why are there boxes? Why are there boxes? Like, you moved out. Like, did you repack your stuff? Oh my God, MTV, what's going on right now?
I was on the edge of my seat.
I am on the edge of my seat.
And then all of a sudden, Audrina walks down the stairs and says, "Hey, roomie!" Gasp.
Oh my God.
Audrina plus Elsie together forever.
Surprise, y'all. Audrina's moved in.
What? That's what the boxes were for.
Oh, MTV, y'all so crazy.
So insane. Like, my head is spinning from this big reveal.
I love it.
I love it too.
It was basically like the most dramatic rose ceremony ever.
And then we move into a montage of switching between Lauren and Audrina's apartment and Heidi and Spencer's apartment. Heidi and Spencer, oh no, I hope Lauren's not too lonely. Lauren and Audrina, oh my God, let's pop the champagne and giggle. We're having so much fun, we forgot Heidi existed.
And Audrina cannot stop laughing at a champagne cork flying across the room and champers splashing all over them.
And Spencer says, Lauren is probably going crazy without you.
Susan just turned into Spencer again. Seth, did you see that?
I did see it.
Did it
And you know,
scare you?
I love the line, I can't stand to be away from you for a minute, so I know she's going crazy.
Yeah, right, Spencer. That's like a gaggable.
As they would say
statement.
down here in our part of the world, gag me with a fork or gag me with a spoon.
I thought you were going to say, bless his heart.
Oh, definitely bless his heart.
Why are y'all sleeping in the living room on a hardwood floor?
Do you not have a bed?
Do you not have a bed? You just got this swanky apartment. You can't get a bed? All that furniture? You mean you didn't have a bed at Brody's?
So my question is, what exactly was in that U-Haul?
What was in that U-Haul? Why were there 8 boxes? Why didn't you just make 4 trips in the car? Like, why did you?
Do you think that they got carjacked in the U-Haul and lost everything, and that's why they ended up in the empty apartment with nothing to their name?
Jem, you're thinking of one of my favorite movies, My Fake Fiancé.
Ugh, which is a great film, I must say.
I love the look that Spencer is giving Heidi while after she does the whole, he gives her the double eye roll, okay, maybe, you know?
And also, don't you guys feel like that Spencer has been treating this as a competition between him and another guy trying to win the lady's heart, except the other guy's Lauren, her friend and roommate? It didn't have to be that way, SP.
It didn't have to be that way.
I think it's less of a competition and just real hardcore isolation.
Yep.
You know,
he wants her all to himself.
I've been isolated before, you know.
We all.
You know, I've had people, people felt like I was the bad influence on their guy. So they isolated, you know, and I mean, I was the bad influence on their guy. You know, I mean, if you get into a relationship with one of my friends, keep him away from me because I am going to ruin your relationship.
We'll have to remember that, but I can't imagine you misleading or misguiding anyone or being a problem. I mean, think about what you have taught us just about the hills and the lessons that it brings to life. And I just don't really believe that you've ever steered someone in the wrong direction, Seth. I think that you're lying right now. You're lying.
Well,
You're telling a story.
You're telling a story, Seth.
Okay, well,
gracious me.
The best things about having friends is they believe things about you that you don't believe about yourself. And so you are truly my friends.
Seth, you're like as wise as Whitney Port. It's kind of freaking me out right now.
Oh my gosh, Seth just turned into Whitney Port.
Seth just grew long blonde hair and got a confused look on his face, and like his eyes got really wide and he just didn't know what was happening, and he's like, it's really cold in the Big Apple. And now he's back to Seth again.
Hi.
Wendy, is that you?
So then Heidi says, well, you know, I have a rule about not moving in before 2 years. Don't make me regret this, Spencer. And the episode ends.
That's a lot of pressure, Spence.
Good luck, Spencer.
Good luck, Spencer. Hope you're still together in 11 years.
Does this episode of The Hills pass the Bechdel test?
Let's just review for all of us Seth's friends and fans who may be tuning in for the first time. Bechdel test is applied most commonly to Hollywood films, and the first question, Seth and Susan, is, are there any scenes where there are two women talking to each other?
Yes.
Yes.
Are these two women named in the show?
Yes.
And do they talk to each other about anything besides a man?
Yes. Yay.
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh my gosh, I just realized something. This episode of Words Unspoken in the Hills podcast does not pass the Bechdel test because Seth is here. Oh, wait a minute. Wait.
Hold on.
There are two named women.
Yes.
One named man.
Yes.
The women have talked to each other about something besides a man,
Yes.
maybe. So maybe we just squeaked by, but Seth, you are a Bechdel test ruiner.
I tried to tell you I ruined things. I just told you. I just told you.
You literally
I
ruined the
just
test
told you.
by your presence, your mere presence.
And didn't I just tell you I ruined things? You know,
Bechdel
but
test
it's cool.
Script
It's cool.
got flipped.
Winners of the week.
Seth, since you're a guest, we'll let you go first. Who was your winner of the week?
Hands down, Spencer Pratt.
Oh, scandalous!
Yeah, he set out to separate Heidi from Lauren, and he did it with a U-Haul and a fantastic shot and an apartment. I mean, come on. He got the apartment first.
It's true. He was proactive.
He was very proactive. He set out to win, and he won.
Seth, I feel like Spencer was in Clue. Like, Spencer Pratt did it with the U-Haul at Hillside Villas.
I mean, this has been his goal since the beginning of the season, to separate Lauren and Heidi, and he finally reached his goal.
End game accomplished.
Jem, who was your winner of the week?
Seth especially is going to be super jealous of my winner of the week because it's Elodie and her new dark hair. Hey! Hashtag Jem goals to have dark hair.
Hashtag Team Elodie.
Hashtag Team Elodie.
That hashtag Team Elodie.
My winner of the week was Whitney Port. Because she did so well in her interview with Amy Astley.
So that kind of got lost in the shuffle of the
drama.
Yeah.
And really, that's what helped this episode win the Bechdel test, was all of Whitney's work stuff. So
It's
I wanted
true.
to give Whitney props.
Well done, Whitney, and well done, Lauren, on the BlackBerry. Was this our first BlackBerry appearance? Technology alert! Technology alert!
I don't think so, no.
Jem.
And Susan's
Funniest moments.
Susan, what was your funniest moment?
My funniest moment was Elodie again. All her wonderful eye rolls and expressions. I love that so much. I wish Elodie was in every episode. I'm excited for the episodes coming up because she is in it a lot more. And I love her expressions. She is amazing.
She puts on a shade clinic.
Seth, what was your funniest moment of the week?
I'm Team Elodie, but for me it was when she couldn't remember what cooking equipment was called. And she referred to it as cooking equipment. Like, that is the best. Like, Elodie can do no wrong. Team Elodie all the way. But cooking equipment, pots and pans. Like, I was expecting something really like what? Like blenders and
juicer.
something. Juicer or something. But yes, that moment just tickled me to no end.
That was hilarious. Jem, what was your funniest moment?
My funniest moment was easily the girlfriend phone and the homie phone and the two phone situation, because that was hilarious how hard Spencer pushed that with Brody Jenner and how he was just trying to impress Brody basically with his two phones.
There are some people in LA that are. There are some people in LA that are. There are some people in LA that are.
Seth, what was your pratfall?
I'd have to go with the phones. I thought that was just classic, like, come on. Like, I don't even believe you right now. I just think you're trying to show out for Brody because you're not really ready to admit that you're 100% down with Heidi and that you want her all to yourself, So you played it off with the bro phone and the homie phone. So yeah, that was the pratfall for me.
Isn't it amazing how pratfalls and funniest moments so often intersect? I think we've got a pattern here.
So true.
Thanks, Spencer, for the laughs. Thanks for the memories.
My pratfall of the week was Spencer through the whole episode and finally getting his own way, and just how ridiculous he was and how he managed to manipulate Heidi into moving in with him. What about you, Jem?
My pratfall was kind of like a clairvoyant looking into the crystal ball pratfall, because when they walked into that apartment, there was only one thing that I could think about when we saw it for the first time. And looking into the future with your Seth Spidey sense, what do you see in the future of that apartment on that counter? The graffiti.
Oh my God. Oh, the graffiti mural?
Yes, the tagging of the apartment. It was all I could think of.
The
The
apartment.
worst thing Spencer has ever done besides like cheat on Hyde.
So that was kind of like an advanced pratfall, like a future pratfall, and it was all I could think of.
Seth, thank you so much for joining us today. This was so amazing. I'm so glad you got an opportunity to come on and give your thoughts on the Hills.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm not one of those like celebrity dudes trying to be like, oh, get my name out more, blah, 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 blah. Like, I truly found you guys on Twitter, and I have fallen in love with you both. You are friends dear to me. Not only was this fantastic, but you can call me anytime you want. I'm down with Words Unspoken to the very end.
You're ride or die. You're ride or die.
I'm ride or die. We're going to do 102 episodes together, whether I'm on it or just listening. I'm with you.
Your spirit will be with us either way.
This is fantastic. I adore you both. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
You know, I beg to differ with something that you just said. You are one of those celebrity dudes, and I think that you're my favorite celebrity now. You've replaced Lauren Conrad on the list for me, so welcome to the A-list, Seth.
Hey, well, thank you.
Seth, tell our listeners where they can find you on the Twitter or wherever you would like people to get in touch with you to find more of your wit and funniness.
If you're looking for me on Twitter, I'm USA Negro. Also, my two-person comedy group is called the Defiant Thomas Brothers. You can find us on Twitter, the Instagram, Facebook. We'll be coming to a town near you soon. We're on tour, so check up with us and check our tour dates out. And yeah, that's it.
Well, if you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us by email at wordsunspokenpodcast@gmail.com if you want to write to us and demand that Seth come on more episodes.
#demand Seth. You can also find us on Twitter at The Hills Podcast, and we're on Instagram at Words Unspoken Podcast. And when you see Eastern Time postings on Instagram at 3:30 a.m., yes, that is me, Jem, and no, I am not asleep.
You can also listen to episodes on our website, wordsunspokenpodcast.com.
We love you so much, Seth. Thank you for an amazing show today. We loved having you and can't wait till you're back on the show again soon.
Thank you, Seth.
And now for the most ceremonial moment of Words Unspoken the Hills podcast. You have to chime in with us with a big ol' bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
You and all your pretty little friends up in the hills where the party never ends. Your schemes and your dreams when you're whole and you're broken. I'm telling all about it in my Words Unspoken.
That's why I said it a while ago.
Whoops.
Oh.
She doesn't listen
I don't
to what I
listen.
say, so this happens every time. I'll be like, I just said that. Oh,
I'm also very hard of hearing. Looking longingly and listfully. That's not a word. Hold on. Look at
Wistfully.
Whoa. I'm really hungry.
Words Unspoken is the greatest.